Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Calvin, We the Species. We're in the eighth day of April, and I'm so conditioned to go out without a jacket, and yet it was 35 degrees this morning. And when I stuck my head outside, it was a big slap in the face. But the reality is, I am with Robin Berlinsky, and to prepare for this, I did some studying up, and it's one of these oh wows,
Yeah.
her world and her journey and what she does as the founder of the Abundant Nonprofit. And I have no clue, as worldly as I think I am, no clue about that world of nonprofits and what's out there. And she'll tell you some numbers that I read that I can't even fathom the amount of money that's sitting and waiting that just goes and never gets, it never grows, it never does anything, it sits. And I had no clue. You hear about nonprofits, this, that, but you never pay any attention. And so what Robin does as a coach, as a teacher, as an educator, putting this all together. And I spent time on our website, The Abundant Nonprofit. It's hard to see, but nevertheless, that's what it looks like. It's a journey in realization what's there, and I'm only guessing, and we're going to talk about that. I'm only guessing that the biggest problem with nonprofits and people is they don't know what's out there and how to go about it, and that's what you do. So it's a wow, and so I'm so glad that one thing I knew nothing about is going to be taken care of. So thank you so much for joining us, Robin.
Thank you.
And how about just a little background, little bio, and by the way, you got your master's, and I have a great little spot in my heart for the Citadel.
Oh, yeah?
I'll tell you why. Because I was a big fan of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and she took on that famous case. You could talk about that too. I don't know if you were there then, but she took on that famous case and won it,
Yeah.
and forever changed the Citadel around. And it wasn't an easy. And I think I even know the lawyer for the Citadel. I think his last name was Olson, if I'm not mistaken. Something like whatever. It's not important. Robin, thank you so much. Take it away. And
You. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I am a former educator, and I have to even take you back a little further because I had an interesting path to the classroom because my whole life growing up, I was going to be a teacher. I was the one playing with my dolls and grading their fake papers and teaching them. And when I was in high school, this is the early 80s, I told my guidance counselor that I was going to be a teacher. And she said, well, you have high math scores. You really should go into computer science. That's where all the money is. And so, being whatever I was, 17 years old, I said, okay, that's great. I'll do that. So, I went to college for computer science. I was thrown into calculus and physics, and I was over my head, overwhelmed and unhappy, and immediately on academic probation with a 197. And for the first time in my life, looked around and said, what the hell did I just do? So I finished, because that's what I do, with an associate's degree in computer science, and then shifted and said, now I'm going to be a teacher. Now I'm going to follow my heart. I'm going to be a teacher. So my path was a little crooked from the beginning, but I followed my heart eventually and went into the classroom and loved it. I taught first grade for 2 years, and then I taught fifth grade. Loved both of them. I love the moments light bulbs go off. I love all of it. But I was itching to do more. I felt like these 25 students that were mine it was so impactful for me to see them grow. I wanted to do more. So where could I do more? Well, I landed at the Children's Museum, which is a nonprofit. It was my first dipping a toe into the world of nonprofits. And I saw how when you have a mission that people believe in and there's so much passion behind it, the money flows. It's like a magnet on the right side where it's attracting all the abundance. And I was part of the capital campaign. I was part of building the museum, bringing in the first, group of field trips. And then I was feeling that itch again, like, okay, now we're impacting all these families coming into the Children's Museum, but now I want to impact more families and more children. And I learned about this amazing nonprofit, brand new, hadn't been started yet. It was being developed by brilliant minds in Charleston, South Carolina, superintendents and mayors and all the smart people. And it was called Engaging Creative Minds. And I went to this community gathering, and they flew in this woman from Dallas, Texas. Her name is Gigi Antoni. She's no longer with Big Thought. But this woman comes in and tells us about how Big Thought, this nonprofit in Dallas, Texas, was changing the way the arts were impacting students in the schools. And I had like an out of body experience. I said to my friend sitting next to me, I'm going to apply for this job. I need to be the director of Engaging Creative Minds. And I applied and I got the job, and now I still work there. I have the best role of being able to impact now students across the state of South Carolina. So I've gone from classroom to children's museum to the state, and it is just so joyful. And then I got the itch again. Like, I'm seeing all this abundance coming to Engaging Creative Minds. We're a 7-figure nonprofit with an engaged board, loyal employees. And I was like, what's next? What more can I do? And here's my moment. I turned 60 2 years ago, and I said, I'm ready for my third act. I am going to make an impact in the entire nonprofit world. I am going to build a legacy where everyone understands, everyone running a nonprofit understands that nonprofit is just an IRS phrase. It is not a business model. Let's go for the $600 billion that's out there every year. Let me help you. Let me guide you. And so I started the Abundant Nonprofit. It's my company where I coach nonprofits while I'm still running Engaging Creative Minds. There it is.
Yes.
Because I get to work with nonprofits in the same, like, we're colleagues. I get to go to them and say, I'm doing this today. I wrote this grant today. I received this sponsorship today. You too should apply for it, because the universe is net positive. There's enough for all of us. So let's all get in it together, and let's all get some money. So that's my story, how I got from high school to here in my third act.
Wow. Wow. And you said 600 billion is available, and the other number that when I was reading up about you, it just blew me away. That I got to spit this out right. 5.7% of the American economy is, quote, nonprofit or derived.
I'm not sure of the exact number. If you read that, then I believe you.
Sure.
There are around 2 million nonprofits right now running in the United States. So if you think about 2 million nonprofits with $600 billion available, those are good odds. Those are good odds. Now, the IRS receives about 115,000 applications a year to be a 501c3. And there are some pretty grim statistics that about 35% of that is a space of 10 years where it's like, keep the funding coming in, stay relevant, innovate, have good culture. A lot of nonprofits, when the leader is operating in a space of scarcity, as you can imagine, when the leader feels lack, it translates down into the staff and then out into the community. And it's just not a good feeling. Money is attracted to that abundant mindset of, we want to invite you to invest in an opportunity. We're not begging you for money. It's not that kind of charitable, like, please, kind sir, can you spare a penny? It's not that. It's like, we're doing amazing work. Join us and let's work together with your money and our time, and we'll make the world a better place.
Okay. So what inspired you to bring, there's a corporate strategy, you use a corporate strategy into the world of nonprofits. What was that inspiration?
You know, I've always been really curious. I love biographies, in particular business leaders, entrepreneurs. I've always enjoyed reading the stories of the people that built something from nothing. They had a vision and they created something. And I've been really interested in all those stories, from Paul Orfalea, who started Kinko's, to Tom Golisano, who started Paychecks, to Sarah Blakely and Spanx, and the Zappos story. All the stories I just absorb. And so when I transitioned from the classroom into the nonprofit world, I carried those stories with me. And when whatever situations would arise, no matter what it was, I could bring that kind of corporate mindset to it. Like, almost channeling, what would an entrepreneur do? And the beautiful thing is, in I think all those stories really, they have failed. They have failed many times. And it's that message of fail fast and get up and go. There's always a pivot you can make. And so I've taken that strategy, kind of the corporate business model, into the nonprofit world. And I tell nonprofit leaders all the time, we should be running our nonprofits like a Fortune 500 company, keeping our eyes on the customers and making sure the revenue is, cash flow is strong, and really, kind of shifting that mindset again from scarcity to abundance.
Why do you believe so many of these and you just touched on it just a minute or two ago. Why do you believe so many of these nonprofit leaders operate from a mindset of scarcity? You used that word before, scarcity. What is that with their mindset?
Yeah, I think it's a couple things. I think it's scarcity of time and scarcity of funding, because those are the two complaints I hear the most. Like, there's not enough time. I don't have time. I cannot do that. And then there's that we don't have enough funding. And so it again goes back to sometimes you have to take risks, right? The greatest risks bring in the greatest reward. And that's what business leaders do. But nonprofits tend to, because they have a board, they're governed by a board, which is great. We all want a board overseeing our fiduciary work, but we don't want fear to keep us in a space of not trying new things. And so we're always kind of staying below staying below so that people just don't see us because we're not taking chances. And so I've been lucky enough to work with several boards that are like, go for it, like, let's go. And so you get to take chances and put yourself out there in the community and try new things. But it does take an investment. It takes an investment of time, and it takes an investment of funding. But when you have a story you're passionate about and you can tell it to whomever, whether it's an individual donor or it's in a grant or a sponsorship, the money will follow that. If you have a crazy idea and you want to take a risk, well, go to someone on the board or someone or a grant and get the funding for it. And then it's really not a risk because you have the funding to do it.
Funny, my we had a great conversation before we went on air, and really my only introduction into the world of nonprofits was a Seinfeld episode when George was put in charge of his wife who had passed her estate, and it was all into nonprofits, and he was beginning to comprehend the world of nonprofits and what's there, and it completely blew him away. It was comedy, but
Yeah.
there was some serious stuff behind it. And listening to you and reading, you talk about in the world of nonprofits, a nonprofit could reach like seven figures.
Mhm.
What is it going to take to reach seven figures? Is
It can reach more than seven figures. What will it take? So your mission is the most important thing. Your mission is your simple statement of what you do. For us, we spark creativity and curiosity in all learners through innovative and experiential learning. So we're very vague. We're not saying we do arts integration in the schools. We're not saying we do entrepreneurship in high school. We do those things. But the mission statement is high level what we do. And when you have a mission statement that speaks to the people with money, right? Then it's an easy sell. It's really not selling anything. It's about being visible. You mentioned earlier about like the $600 billion. It's out there swirling right now, right? Like, money is moving. Money is currency. Currency is energy. Energy is money. Like, it's all around us. We just have to raise our hands. Nonprofits have to be visible. And now, when I was starting in the nonprofit world in the early 90s, there was no Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or YouTube. We have such an amazing opportunity now. We can stay in our own homes or in our offices and be visible throughout the world. So it's even easier now. And I see no reason why nonprofits cannot be posting on social media. We at Engaging Creative Minds post our programs from schools all the time. We're highlighting the kids. We're celebrating the donors. We're constantly operating in a space of gratitude. And we have this woohoo spirit where we're always like excited about a program or a donor or even the smallest donation for $5, we get so excited about it. We write handwritten notes. So there really is a lot of opportunity to raise your hand and get to 7, 8, 9 figures as a nonprofit,
No.
because when you're passionate about what you do, the money flows to you.
Uh, Off topic, is the NCAA a nonprofit? The
I
I,
don't
I'm,
know. I'm
just,
not sure.
I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah.
Just an off and another off topic. I like this just to kind of because this is semi-heavy, so I always like to throw in. And you don't even have to answer it, but I borrowed it from another journalist, but it's a nice question. So here goes. Excluding family or friends, somebody living or dead you'd like to spend a day with.
Ooh, Jesse Itzler.
Okay. Whom is that? Who is that?
Jesse Itzler is married to Sarah Blakely, who started Spanx.
Oh, wow.
Jesse Itzler created Marquis Jets that was sold to NetJets, to Berkshire Hathaway in like 2010. He was in his late 20s. He then created Zico coconut water, which was sold to Coke. He has been a serial entrepreneur since his 20s. He has taken incredible risks. I think he's from your area. I think he's from New Jersey.
Wow.
He is the type of energy that I just want to sit in a room and absorb whatever he wants to talk about. I was on an Instagram live with him the other day, just list because I just want to absorb. He was talking about fasting. I don't even fast. I eat. I love food, but I'm all in listening to Jesse Itzler talk about fasting because there's always other nuggets of information he throws in because of his experiences. So I just would love to spend time with him.
Great answer. Of course, I never heard that before, and I've asked this a couple hundred times, but I never heard that before. But it's funny about fasting. Off topic. A couple of years ago, in the middle of the pandemic, me, like the rest of the world, blew up. 60 pounds worth. Because that's what are we doing? We're eating, and so I read as much as I could about intermittent fasting, and I started it, and the weight just kind of flew off, and it's been off, and it became a way of life. It's in other words, I do my intermittent fasting, and it's just a way of life. Interesting stuff. All right, back to work. Back to work. Um, uh, I like this question because it makes me think. What's a myth about running a nonprofit that you like to bust?
Ooh,
There must be a lot of myths about
there's so
nonprofit.
many myths. There's so many myths. I think the biggest one, well, the biggest one is that nonprofit means no profit. That's not true. It's a surplus that we put into a reserve where we can then tap into those funds to pay for unfunded or underfunded programs. So, that's a myth. Nonprofits can have profit. They can. But the other one is that, let's say you and I both run a nonprofit and we both write a $1 million grant, and you get the grant and I don't. There's this myth that because you got the grant, there's not that opportunity for me. But actually, that $1 million grant you got shows me what's possible. So I now realize, oh, I need to go over here and get this $1 million grant. So it's this myth that if you get it, I can't. If you have $50,000 in a sponsorship, now I can't have that $50,000 in a sponsorship. But really, it shows you what's possible. And I think more nonprofits need to lean into that. And when they see the success, it's not the Hunger Games. We're not in this to we need to see what, success leaves clues. So when another nonprofit gets the thing we want, there's the clue for us. Let's go get it ourselves.
Interesting, interesting. Um, your organization, the Abundant Nonprofit, what does operating with abundance look like um, um, in an organization that is like mission driven? Um,
Yeah. Yeah, it's really all about confidence and about making, highlighting the heroes. And by that, I mean, when you're on social media, it's sharing the impact. So it's join us, not look at us, right? This is a movement. This is making the world a better place, whatever it is, whether you feed the hungry, the homeless, dogs, animals, shelters, all the things, right? It's about saying, join us. It's so fun to be here. You should come on in and see all the joy. And it's the confidence. Even if your nonprofit is struggling, if feel all that scarcity and you kind of are in that negative mindset, get rid of it somehow. Put on your like Meryl Streep and win an Oscar and go out there with confidence, because the confidence is what draws the people toward your mission, and they want to be part of whatever you're doing. So that's the fun of it, is just to, put it out to the world, how awesome it is to be in this space and come on in, whatever it is, whether you're time, talent, treasure, what can you do to help this nonprofit? Because all of it matters. Time, investing in an attorney, helping with contracts, a CPA, helping with the books, or funding. They all help. They're all equally beneficial to a nonprofit.
okay, okay, good answer. You said Meryl Streep. I laughed. Not for now, some other time, but I was in a movie with her.
Really?
Yeah, I was
You have
talking
to
to
tell
her.
me what movie now. You can't
Well,
leave.
it's called One True Thing, and we're off air. I'll tell
Okay.
you, it's a real story. I mean, I was watching, and she was standing next to me. We talked. They thought I was part of her entourage, and they take me on set, and I'm in a movie.
I love it. I'm going to have to watch it. One True Thing. I
One
wrote it
True
down.
Thing. It's a very sad movie. You don't really want to watch it. She's dying in the movie. It's
Oh,
yeah, but it's
but
because
we know she's acting. So
yeah, she's acting. She's amazing. But, anyway, that's so funny you said that. Can you give an example of a nonprofit leader who applied your strategies and really saw results? Are you allowed to give that kind of information?
yeah, I can. I won't tell you the name of the nonprofit, but I'm
Fine.
working with a nonprofit that you look at the energy of the leader. So this is a startup, so it's a one person show. And the energy of this leader is, she's young, she's vivacious, she's on Instagram, she has tons of followers, she's always dancing and having fun. And it's her like personal Instagram. And she's helping people through addiction, whatever that is, whether it's drugs, alcohol, whatever the addiction is. So that's her mission for her nonprofit. But instead of thinking of fundraising for the mission per se, instead of coming up with like an addiction kind of focus, I encouraged her to use her energy and let's do like a dance for life. Let's do some kind of dance and donate. So she has created this platform because all of her followers love her just for who she is, right? So she's doing a challenge where they're dancing and they're donating, and the money is coming in, and it's just this good energy because she took what she thought she had to do, which was raise money for addiction and focus on the addiction, but she went over here and focused on her energy and brought in the joy and said, like, join me, do a dance and donate $1 or whatever it is. And it's those kind of grassroots movements that can really make an impact in a nonprofit when you shift your mindset to maybe doing a fundraiser or an event that is a little different, and it's working. So that's one example.
Okay. Okay.
And I want to say too, just as an aside, so at Engaging Creative Minds, we do arts programs, K-12 schools, summer camps, entrepreneurship programs. It's a beautiful mission. And our annual fundraiser is a Charleston half marathon. It's in January every year. There's a 5K, there's a youth run, and it has nothing to do with the arts. And there are people that come to Charleston to run, and they have no idea the money goes to Engaging Creative Minds. And it's not to be mean, but I don't think they care. They're not coming to donate to a nonprofit. They want to run. They want to come to Charleston in January, get out of the snow, wherever they are, and come run a half marathon on a flat course. We have no hills here. The only hills we have are speed bumps, and those are easy to maneuver. And so they come here for that, and it raises money for our nonprofit. That is the most beautiful way to raise money because you're not tapping into your current donor system. These are all new people that come to run. So that's the other thing I encourage nonprofits to do is just think a different way about how they raise money. It can be something that unrelated to their mission, just like we do.
A little off topic. People need to go to the Abundant Nonprofit and just kind of just check out. And I was looking at the different things that people can do. It's like wow. The Power Hour, monthly membership, VIP, motivational speak. I mean, it's a wow. And I honestly, in my as I circulate around the world and doing this stuff and meet people, you have irrevocably illuminated me.
I
Uh,
love that.
yeah, I just came up with that. You really have irrevocably illuminated me.
I'm writing this down.
You can write it down because in about 2 minutes I'm going to forget it, but write it down. Yeah, but you really have, Robin. As I'm trying to, uh, I mean, it's such a world
It
that's
is.
there. And 99.9% of us, we're all like a bar of Ivory soap, have no clue about this, and it's there. Uh, it's there. So, it really is. It's such a wow for me. Um, I come from, I come from eyewear sales where I spent 25 years, and I took away some marvelous things from, the world's richest Italian, and being in that wonderful company, Luxottica Group, for 25 years, and I learned a lot. And one of the most important things there, and probably here, is this thing called relationship building.
Mhm.
Uh, 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 and in particular, why. And I think I kind of know the answer because I've been around, but relationship building is so important in the world of nonprofit. Tell us how.
Oh my gosh. I love that you asked this because my favorite phrase is when a nonprofit says to me, one of the first things they say is, we just need more money. I say to them, money is a people game, not a number game. So let's talk about your network, which is truly your nonprofit's net worth. So who are you reaching out to? Who are you connecting with? Who are you collaborating with? What other nonprofits are you talking with? It's all about going to the event, going to the thing without an expectation. And what I mean by that is a legislative dinner, a business expo, just a luncheon, a coffee with somebody. When you show up and you're in a room and you aren't even sure who the people are, sometimes you don't even know why you're there. Something inevitably happens. There's a connection made, or someone's like, oh, you need to meet my cousin. She runs da da da, or oh, you should call our foundation. We're giving out money this week. There are always, I cannot even count the number of times. Gabby Bernstein calls it driftwood. You're out somewhere and this thing just floats by, and it's the most amazing opportunity you never would have imagined. And you could not even sit home and ever strategize it in your office. And that's the magic, is the relationships. I cannot stress enough. That's what I talk about all the time. When money is low, will talk to me about the relationships. What 5 new people have you reached out to this week? Who have you had coffee with? Who have you gone to lunch with? Who have you reached out to? Send handwritten notes, cards, all the things. It's about the people. So thank you for asking that. That's my favorite question.
And by the way, it's life. It's
It's
not
life.
here.
I
It's life.
know. Yes.
It's absolutely life. And
Yes.
I pride myself over the last 15 years. Well, I've done relationship building since I got in the eyewear business. I'd never had to do that, and you do it. And then when I became a journalist, the very first day I became a journalist, and wanting to build relationships, I wanted to come up with a brand. I worked for a billionaire, and he taught me a lot of things. One is you got to brand yourself. So I'm sitting here in my office. How am I gonna? I'm 6'5". I'm very tall. So that's a brand in and of itself. But how do you brand myself? So there was this hat laying on the counter, and I said, I'm a Rutgers guy. I'm proud of my alma mater. So I put the hat on my head, and it's been on my head now, for 18 years. It never comes off. Uh,
Love it.
I used to wear it to bed, and I ran into some resistance from my wife, but so now I take it off. But anyway, and this too, because it's a focal point, does lead to relationship building because it's an opening to people to, hey, you went to Rutgers, boom, 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 boom,
Yep.
so it's life. Relationship building is life. Um, so
Yes.
um, Another interesting question. Leaders in the world of nonprofit should act more like, I'm assuming, should act more like CEOs. Uh,
Mhm.
and can you put that into a practical perspective?
Yeah, and leaders, the effective leaders, right? The leaders who build teams that do great things, the leaders who inspire people to do more than they ever thought they could do. I love being able to lead an organization, engaging creative minds. The Abundant Nonprofit is just me, so it's me. At Engaging Creative Minds, I'm lucky enough to have 7 employees. Three other are part-time. We work with a lot of artists. And I love that I have the quote power to be able to create a space that people love to be in. It's mutual respect. It's about how can we work together to serve our mission. And so I'm all about protecting the culture, which is that space we talked about, operating in a space of yes when we're brainstorming. No one's going to say, no, no, we tried that last week. It didn't work. It's always, let's explore that. It didn't work last week. Maybe it'll work this week. The woohoo spirit, the constant state of gratitude. We talk behind each other's backs. And what that means is we tell positive things. I always ask them to talk behind someone's back and tell me what great things are happening, because that's like an anonymous donation. When you don't expect anyone to know that you said something wonderful about them, that's a beautiful thing. But if someone comes to me and says something not so wonderful, then I say to them, you need to go talk to them. And if you don't talk to them, I'm going to put the two of you together and make you talk. So there's this non-toxic environment that I, as the leader, get to support, and I get to nourish that, growth among the team. And so much that, our staff is amazing, and they will send me cards telling me how lucky, like, thank you for letting me work here. Who does that? And on Sunday, they say, like, I can't wait to go to work tomorrow. And my kids laugh and say, they're just telling you that because you're the boss. No one wants to go to work tomorrow. And I get it. But when you have to go to work anyway, you might as well love it. And you might as well have a leader who supports you in a way that the best CEO, Fortune 500 company leaders do. And that's, when somebody moves on from here to go to another space, we celebrate that. Like, we love building people and growing them professionally. And if they're ready to move on, then yay. So it's just about being a leader and not a boss. And it's about doing all the things. I remember when we opened the Children's Museum, I went and unclogged a toilet on opening night, right? Like, we do the things we have to do to keep the organization in a really positive space. And I would never ask somebody who works for me to do something I would not do myself.
That is such a bonding thing.
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
and it opens up so many doors and irreplaceable bonding with people to do the things that they do. And yeah, these are all principles and things that I learned working for the billionaire. These
Yeah.
kind of things, it's all up there. Um, um, I was curious about this. How can nonprofits measure success beyond, the dollars raised?
Well, that's a really important piece of being a nonprofit. Being compliant with the IRS is showing that you are truly making a difference. So when you receive a grant, there is a grant contract generally. And then at the end of the grant cycle, you complete a grant report. So you show that you have moved the needle in whatever it is you say you're going to do. So for us, we work with artists to go into schools and do arts integration, which is like teaching math through dance, learning about fractions while you're playing music, all these fun ways to learn and get out of your seats and experience it. So what we measure is not so much the math or the science, we measure engagement. and attendance, because when our programs get the kids to come to school and get the kids to be engaged, the grades go up. It's just we're not going to claim the grades go up. So when we write a grant, we'll write it about more students will be engaged, more students will come to school, it'll be a happier classroom, the teachers will have a foundation where now they can teach. And so when it's time for the grant report, that's what we say. It's not about the money. It's about, 85% of the students, attendance improved 95%. All the data goes into the report, and that's how we measure success more than our bank account.
Okay. Okay. You now this is all we've done the basic crux of what I wanted to talk to you about. But I'm just curious, because we live in a changing world. We've got AI and all kinds of stuff. Um, uh, um, hey, I'm just thinking of this as I'm talking to you. I'm becoming a very big fan of AI, reluctantly, and surprisingly, I begin using it for more and more things. Uh, uh, could AI ever be used? Well, I'm two-pronged question. I think grant writing is can be a great Can it be a profession? Uh, can it?
Yes, there are professional grant writers. Yes, there's an A Association of Grant Writing Professionals,
Okay.
Fundraising Professionals, AFP.
Okay, so I'm thinking, somebody, even if they did it as a minor in school,
Mhm.
come out of there and become a grant writer.
Yep,
Because if
yep,
there's $500 million floating around and being a good grant writer, you can tap into some of that. So
yeah.
that for young kids in high school and college, it would be a great thing to learn. Uh, has AI entered your world at all yet?
Mhm. I use AI all the time.
Okay.
It has changed in such a positive way, the way I work and what I'm able to accomplish. I love it. I use it very respectfully with integrity. When we write a grant, um, there will be different sections. So like there could be a budget narrative, and I'll write out all the things in my own voice, all the things I wanted to say, and then I'll copy and paste it. I might use ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, and I put it in and I'll say like 10x this for clarity and flow. So it makes sense to a grant reader, and do not change any of the context. And it will spit out the most beautifully written,
Wow.
like I would have, that's exactly what I would have said. And then I will put it in the grant. I've used it for letters of recommendation, former employees, and they'll send me their resume and I'll copy and paste their resume, throw it in, and it'll shoot out a beautiful letter of recommendation in my voice. And I've been using it so much that it knows my voice. It knows like, this is her flow. This is how she says things. And I'll always, make it mine. I don't ever just copy and paste and send. I'll always, it makes mistakes. And I do want it to feel very personal from me. So I'm always changing the things. But it has forever changed the way we work. And it has given me hours back every week. And I would encourage all nonprofits to consider embracing AI. The other thing is for like social media posts, because we want to be visible, right? We can't raise our hands for the $600 billion if no one sees us. It doesn't matter if we're raising our hands, no one can see us. So for social media, what we do is we'll put in one of the chat bots, we'll put, this is what our picture is, this is what we want to say, and it'll give us all the emojis and all the fun. And then we have the caption for Instagram. Super easy. So I love AI. I can't say enough about it. When used correctly, it's a gift.
That's a great way to kind of do a wrap. This has been I said it and I keep saying it. This has been so special
Well,
in
thank you.
the knowledge thing, and so hey, I sit here 12 hours a day in this chair. I've actually worn out the arms. So I'm always here to you come back panels, talk about people to get whatever, you bringing people together, panel, whatever. I'm here, and so I'm officially inviting you to come back. It's a wonderful world. It's a wonderful life that Christmas movie. By the way, what are some of your favorite movies? I just said movies.
I know. Well, you've already said too, Casablanca.
Yeah.
It's the life. I watch that 50 times every year from Thanksgiving through New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Um, I love the holiday. I love the idea of going from LA to London and just the way that all played
Yeah.
out. Yeah, I think I can't think
That's good.
that one caught me off guard. I don't know.
That's good. No, that's fine. It was just one of these spur of the moment things. It's a Wonderful Life. It was written by a Rutgers graduate. Nobody knows that.
Really?
Yeah, it was written by a Rutgers graduate in the 30s, and he couldn't sell it. Nobody wanted to buy it. So he actually, Philip Van Doren Stern, he actually self-published. And I didn't even know you could self-publish back in the 30s. He self-published. I self-published. So I might as well, I self-published. There's a tortoise in my hair. I self-published, and he did too. And out of just super frustration, he just couldn't do anything with it. He gave it to Frank Capra. He said,
Wow.
here's my story. Do what you want with it. And of course, Frank Capra made the movie. It came out in July. It's a Christmas movie. So it did basically zero at the box office. And then back, I think in the 70s, somebody threw it on TV. And then another year of TV. And then that had a rebirth in the movie. Now it's become a classic because
I
of
did not
TV.
know that. That's
Yes.
very cool.
Yes, yes. Well, I'm stuck in movies. So,
Yeah.
Robin, thank you, thank you,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Come back, and I'm just going to stop recording. Don't leave. We're just going to do a quick 2 minute.
Okay.
Thank you so much. You actually made my day because I learned a lot of stuff.
Oh, good.
Yes, you did. Thank you.